Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 8th of February 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's morning session. Of course, the last trading day of this week, of course, so welcome everyone. As always, we're going to have a look at the markets, a few charts, but before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then guys, let's quickly have a look at the markets. Excuse me for my voice a little bit, but nevertheless, let's get ahead of our let's get going. So basically, long story short, looking at the DAX here, yesterday not a very good day for the DAX and in general the indices. So we saw this nice sell-off here to the downside. The DAX almost managed to reach the psychological 11,000 level, certainly closed slightly above it, but if you look at the cash index of the DAX, then we can see that it did reach already the psychological 11,000, from which it kind of rebounded back up here. So in a way, before the opening, looking at where the DAX cash index is trading right now, it's actually somewhere around the same area where it closed yesterday. So in a way, we're still going to be probably above the opening above the 11,000 level. So in a way, guys, for now this is going to be the most important level to watch, because if this decides to break the 11,000 level, now of course this could be opening the path towards the next possible area of support here, seen near the 10,825 mark, which was the low here of the 17th of January, or even actually we could go all the way here lower and potentially maybe test this very short-term downside resistance line that was in play a few weeks ago. So, and that downside resistance line was taken from the high of the 27th of September, and we could in a way test that from above here, and of course this will be very interesting to watch here. If we do see a move lower here and eventually a test of this downside resistance line, this will be very interesting to see if we actually see a reversal here, a rebound from this line and a push back up, or actually is this going to continue traveling further down. But to be honest, somehow my personal belief is that we could see further declines here if we get to this downside resistance line. But again, let's not get ahead of ourselves too much. First, what we need to see is of course a break of the 11,000 level. So the psychological, in a way, it becomes kind of a psychological level here. So the 11,000, watch it for now. Also keep your eyes on the on some higher levels, and if we jump into a 4-hour chart in this one, certainly what you could watch out for is let me just get a line here for myself. So of course you could watch out for this little area here around the 11,100 zone. So a nice good push back above that could of course potentially drag this this index higher, maybe towards this 200 EMA here shown as on the 4-hour chart, which is around the 11,180, or even actually we could travel slightly higher. We do have some potential obstacles here as well, some good areas of resistance around the 11,210 zone, or even actually we could see maybe a further acceleration to the upside if this doesn't hold. But again, for now guys, from the very short-term perspective, it seems that yeah, we could see maybe a push further down, but before we see a push further down, we could see a little correction here, and in a way, if this fails to drive above the 11,100 level, we could see basically we could see something like this happening here. Let me just put this one, there we go. We could see a test of the 11,100 level, but if it continues to hold, we could see maybe this one reversing back down again and then breaking this psychological 11,000 level, and then of course we will target the some lower levels that I've just mentioned recently, and of course that's the scenario that we're kind of keeping an eye on, given the fact that we are quite overbought, oversold here. Do apologize, oversold here on the 4-hour chart. So we could see maybe a small correction back up, and then a possible move back down again. So on the upside, well, again, like I said, in order to kind of consider maybe higher levels again, then we would need to see a nice good push above the 11,200 level. So 210, something like that, approximately there, guys. So keep your eyes on that one. Let's see how this plays out, and yep, be very careful today. Jumping to excuse me, jumping into DXY. Now this one, I was talking about this one throughout this week, this whole week, and basically we had a nice run here to the upside, managed to break this downside resistance line, excuse me for my voice, managed to break this downside resistance line, continues to trade above this short-term upside support line as well. But the only thing is, what's happening here right now, you can see, is that it's kind of trying to reverse, it seems like that. But again, of course, until we're sitting above this upside support line, we can't really talk about the downside yet. We need to see a break of this upside support line, and then we will target slightly lower levels. The only thing is that we can't even go too far down, because we do have this this aforementioned downside resistance line that was broken, and in a way, if this index travels lower, we could see a test of this downside resistance line from above, and then if it fails to kind of drive further down, this line could be a nice trampoline for this index to push back up here. So in a way, that's the kind of idea that we're keeping a close eye on. For now, we're going to be more on the neutral side, but if this decides to push above the 96.70 level, then yep, this could be opening the path towards slightly higher levels, and this is where we will aim for the 96.95 area, or even actually you could round it up towards the 97, but basically around here, this is what we're going to target, but only if we're going to get a nice push above the 96.70 level first. So for now, guys, keep your eyes on it, and as well keep your eyes on the potential maybe break of this upside support line. If we do see a break of this one, then yep, we could see further decline here, but then again, the downside could get limited due to the downside resistance line that we've got here, running from the January highs here. Oh, sorry, December highs here. So for now, keep your eyes on this one. Let's see how this plays out, and could be interesting to watch where it goes and where it ends this week. Aussie dollar. Now looking at this one, certainly taking a hit this week, and it's trying to kind of push back a little bit here. So it found good support overnight here during the Asian morning session. Found good support near the 0.7050 zone approximately there, from which it kind of reversed back up, and now is trying to push a little bit further up, so we can just get rid of this arrow here. Initially, this was the idea that we thought that we maybe will see maybe a reversal earlier here, and maybe a touch of the 0.7135 level. So now this level becomes as a good area of resistance here that we're going to be keeping a close eye on. But of course, in order to see higher levels, we would need to see a nice good push back above today's pivot, and this way we could then target these slightly higher levels. But for now, guys, excuse me, for now, guys, it seems that it's still there is some downside pressure on this one, and but to be honest, for now, we're going to be probably taking a more of a neutral stand on this one, and wait for a break of some key support and resistance levels. So on the downside, basically a drop below the 0.7055 area, the 0.7055 area, a break below that could open the path towards slightly lower levels. Of course, we could be targeting then the psychological 0.70 area, but For now, certainly you can see that it's kind of stuck here a little bit near the near the S1. So in order to kind of consider higher levels, we need to see at least a nice good push above the 0.71030 level here, which is around the pivot, around today's pivot. So keep your eyes on this one. So that's why, for example, like I said, for now we are more on the neutral side on this one, and just going to continue observing some key breakout points, potential breakout points, of course. Jumping into euro dollar now. Euro dollar here, basically trading below this line, this upside line that I was talking about a few times in my videos, in my previous videos, where we were keeping a close eye on this one. Now certainly this somebody could say that yes, it is looking more bearish right now because it's trading below this upside support line. The only thing is don't forget that we did have something like this back on the 24th of January, and we saw this on the 25th of January, then the pair traveling back above this upside support line. So that's why, guys, today be very careful. We are quite oversold here looking at this 4-hour chart, so in a way we could see maybe a push back up, but then again, because the downside kind of pressure still remains here, so we could maybe also see a further push lower. So in a way, long story short, guys, I do understand it's not really maybe helping too much, but probably again similar story like with the Aussie dollar. Keep an eye on some key resistance and support areas, because at this point it would be a little bit difficult to say where exactly it wants to travel, because it could do the same thing as we saw here back in the end of January. We could see maybe a strong reversal back up here, and we could see this one pushing back above this upside support line, and if it does close above the upside support line, then next week we could see maybe another rally higher, but for now we need to continue observing some key levels. So in a way, like I said, keep your eyes on this upside support line. If you're looking for a potential level here around this area, then probably the 113.65 zone could be something like that, could be on a watch, because this is where, like I said, this is where we saw an intraday swing high of yesterday. So we could see, like I said, a touch of that area. But again, if this continues to push further, this is where it could become more exciting for the bulls. On the downside, in a way, we will start breaking yesterday's lows, which were around, let me just put this mark here, around the 113.22, something like that, approximately there. If we'd see a drop below this area, then yep, it could be opening the path towards, of course, initially towards the psychological 113 level, but then slightly below that we do have the 112.90, which was marked here by the low of the 24th of January. So again, for now, guys, probably remain more on the neutral side, just continue observing some key support and resistance levels, and let's see in which direction this pair wants to break through. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on, and that's the USD-CAD. Now this is of course the week of the USD-CAD. It continues to rally sharply to the upside, and it's breaking some key resistance levels, of course, not to mention this little tentative downside resistance line taken from the high of the 2nd of January, but also you can see that it broke above this 133 zone, so now it's trading above it. And of course, the next potential area of resistance that we're keeping a close eye on is the 133.70, marked near the highs of the 24th of January. So we can, in a way, there is a good chance of seeing maybe a touch of that level here. Now the question here is, of course, will we break that level, or actually is this going to act as a good resistance and then maybe push the rate back down again? So certainly at the moment it would be difficult to watch, but just to tell, because like I said, it's stuck here above this this psychological 130 level, but it's also not far from this 133.70, this key area of resistance. So in a way, for now, of course, we're more bullish than bearish, but probably we're I'm going to say that we're more on the cautiously bullish side, because because it's so it's quite overextended here already. And looking at this, like I said, looking at this 4-hour chart, it seems like quite overbought, but then again, it still could continue traveling higher and testing this 133.70 level, and then potentially maybe retracing back down. But if it decides to retrace earlier, well, like I said, keep your eyes on this 130 level, the psychological, 133 level, and if we do see a break below this, then the next area to watch out for is around the pivot, which is around the 132.75, which is also coinciding with the 200 EMA. So good also potential area of support here, but if that fails to withhold the bear pressure, then yep, we could see maybe a further slide here towards the 132 zone. But again, for now guys, we could see maybe a bit of a correction here, but then again, watch out for the 133 area. And of course, if on like the second option is to watch out for the pivot and the 200 EMA. If these two don't hold, then you have further declines could be possible towards the 132 zone. But on the upside, we're still keeping a close eye on the 133.70. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching and listening, and I do apologize for maybe coughing too much here, trying to clear my voice, but I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for sticking around. If you want to join me later on in my Traders Tea Time, and that's 14:15 GMT time, but for now, I hope you have a fantastic trading day, and see you later. Bye bye.